Regis, just how good does that feel?
Yeah, proud and happy because it was a derby expected by our fans, and I think this win is well deserved because we were mature, composed under this pressure, and the lads were incredible this afternoon.
What did you say at half-time in terms of what you wanted more from the team?
Yeah, I think during the first half, tactically it was really good, but just some details about the defensive shape, because they tried with on their right side to disturb our structure, and probably with the ball, because we are good. Now it was a question of being a bit more clinical in the final third. And I think we scored early at the beginning of this second half, and the momentum changed.
Is that a case of making sure that there was quality in the delivery as well?
Yeah, absolutely, because I think we had good control, and now we were composed and probably sometimes a bit more too patient, which is the opposite of what we could expect. But yeah, the good level of maturity, good composure. So happy for the lads.
Jermaine Defoe and Kevin Phillips know exactly what that's like, and that feeling for those players, most of them experiencing it for the first time. If they could bottle it, they would now, wouldn't they?
Oh, mate, it's a party, you know. It's unbelievable. Listen, what a performance. You know, obviously winning the game was important, but I think, you know, Anna just spoke about, you know, playing and, you know, showing our style, and, you know, to win like they won, you know, I thought they dominated throughout the game. You know, they're better team throughout the game. But, you know, these players are, what an experience, you know, this is special.
You said before the game, actually, you think they've taken it to another level as supporters. You can see the relationship between this team and them, and obviously a result like today is only going to enhance that curve.
Yeah, and I think, you know, what the fans appreciate is what they see on the pitch, obviously, but that fight, that heart, that desire. You can have an off day with your passing, your shooting, but what they won't put up with is not working hard. And you can see every player out there today, not just today, since Regis Le Bris has been in and the players he's had under him have worked their socks off. They keep going right to the end, and they've created a team spirit, and you can see that. And you can't win anything, Jermaine will tell you, you can't win anything in football unless you're together, you've got a team spirit, and you can see they've got that. Listen to that, it's incredible.
I mean, these people up here, they work hard. You know, they work hard, work around the clock to buy their season tickets, travel, support the team. Like we mentioned before about going down to League One, the Championship, supporting the team. Even in League One here, the stadium was full. The performances has to reflect that, and I think has that. Not just today, you know, from the start of the season it's been like, but today was just the icing on the cake for everyone.
I mean, you can see what it means to these supporters, but just try and put that into words as someone who was here for so long and gave them so many happy memories. What does this mean to the people of Sunderland today?
It's the bragging rights. It's the big game. You know, you cannot lose this football match, especially after losing last week 3-0 to Man City. You know, it was so important that they got a result today, and of course, you know, the 6 players going off to AFCON now, so, you know, they're in an excellent position. They'll go away happy. Listen, I weren't going to go out in the town tonight, but I think I might now. I could be persuaded, but the town will be rocking. The whole area, well, certainly the Sunderland, will be buzzing until March when they have the replay, for sure.
I might join it. Nah, but listen, we keep saying before the game, you know, all we wanted was we just want the boys to win. We wanted these players to just experience what we experienced as, you know, winning in this fixture. So that's amazing. Yeah, I was saying, you know, before the game we spoke about, you know, wanting these players to experience what we experienced as players, you know, playing here, winning in this fixture, and they've done that now. So yeah, hopefully now they can kick on and, you know, keep going.
Well, let's get some Sunderland reaction then. Here is Granit Xhaka and Dan Ballard.
Gentlemen, very well done. Dan, just how good does that feel?
Oh, words can't describe. I mean, thinking back to the last game, it was so painful. You know, for us players, for the fans, we felt like we let them down, and we were so determined this time, especially the boys that were there and had to experience that day. So we're delighted, yeah.
Yeah, I was just going to say that for you in particular, and what happened in that game. Is that an extra motivating factor today?
Yeah, of course. I think, you know, it prepared us more for today. We come into the game with, you know, a lot more quality in the team, some real strong leaders, and it wasn't the prettiest game, but, you know, we stuck in there, we fought really hard, and I thought we thoroughly deserved the win.
Granit, we can see your war wounds there. How much of a battle was it out there today, and how much did you relish that?
Yeah, Derby is here to win. It doesn't matter how. And yeah, these guys, I know how painful was it 2 or 3 years ago when they lost here, and they motivate us because of this much more than before. And like him, like many players, they've been here in the Championship and now in the Premier League. I think this team deserve much more than this, the respect, because where we are is amazing, because we are working day by day very hard, and we deserve where we are.
What did the manager say at half-time in terms of what he wanted more of from the team?
I think that the first time we had much more control with the ball, but it's normal that you can't do it for 90 minutes because they have the quality as well to press us. They have the quality as well with the ball. But yeah, just be solid. Doesn't matter what happened. Be calm. And I think after 1-0, the game changed a little bit, but we was very, very good without the ball. And I think we deserve the 3 points today for sure.
Dan, was that then a case of game management once you got ahead, and if you weren't going to get the second, make sure you don't lose a goal?
Yeah, I mean, there wasn't much in the game in terms of chances. I thought, yeah, first half was great, but when you go a goal ahead, it's about managing the game, and I thought we'd done that really well. I can't think of many chances that they had. So yeah, I thought the boys were brilliant.
Special atmosphere at the end. Was it important to get that photograph as well?
Yeah, I mean, that hurt last time, you know, a lot of the players wanted to do that, so that is what it is. The most important thing was 3 points and winning today.
You did win, and you also won the Premier League Player of the Match award. If you can hand it over, please, Granit.
Thank you, Pat.
You deserve it.
Well, they were two of the outstanding performances. I mean, before we look at the goal and Granit Xhaka, you mentioned the central defender there. I mean, they defended everything superbly, Kev, didn't they?
Yeah, they've been doing it all season, and you know, not just the back four, but the back five. Roos as well. Let's mention him. You know, he as a defender, when you know you've got someone like him behind you, you know, if a ball goes over your head, you know for a fair fact that he's coming to get it and claim it. So defensively, that back five looks solid. You know, apart from the Man City, there haven't been too many games where they've conceded one or two more goals. So they don't look like conceding. You know, although Newcastle reported then didn't create anything, a couple of long shots from Bruno. Apart from that, they didn't look like they were going to get breached at all. So, you know, what they're doing on the training ground or in the meeting rooms is certainly paying off.
You said they earned their luck, because it was an extraordinary way in which they got the goal, really, with Nick Voltemade.
Obviously unfortunate for Nick Voltemade. I felt like he had to head it, but listen, we spoke at half-time, we said, you know, put the ball in the box. So I felt like they had good possession, and sometimes we get the ball out wide, we get to these little triangles and that, but sometimes one pass too many. But once you get there, once you get the yard, you just got to cross it, and that's how you get fortunate, because when you cross it, it just causes chaos. You know, it causes confusion. You know, people make mistakes, and we see here, I mean, the ball goes wide here. It's a fantastic cross. And there you go. I think he has to put his head on it. You know, sometimes, unless you get a shout from behind you, but you know, cross it, keep crossing it, keep getting the ball in the box, and with the goalkeeper, and you know, you get a little bit of luck, and you know, end up getting a goal.
Listen, it was some finish, wasn't it? Yeah, I suppose if there's a slight disappointment about the day, you'd love it to have been a Sunderland player that scored that winning goal. Do you know what I mean? But you'll take a win any way that it comes, and like Jermaine said, they thoroughly deserve to win. Apart from a couple of spells when Newcastle, when they brought the subs on and they got a bit ahead of wind, Sunderland soaked up the pressure, never looked in doubt, never looked in trouble, then gained control again and saw the game out like they've done many times this season. Defensively as a whole team, a whole unit, solid.
And we talked about Xhaka before the game, and you talked about what a signing he'd been. We just heard from him, and again, he ran the show in there today, Kev.
He just, you know, he never shies away from getting on the ball. No matter where on the pitch, he's always looking for that football. He's always looking to play football, forwards. His energy as well, getting around the pitch, his last touch tackles, and his balls into the box here. You know, he's been doing this all season, creating opportunities, creating goals, and he's a leader. He's a born leader, and yeah, he's been absolutely magnificent from the get-go. You know, look at him here, doesn't stop. And when he wins it back, you know, it's like it's not just a hoof, he's just trying to clear it and get the danger away. So unreal.
Yeah, he covers some ground as well. You know, we're talking about not just with the ball, without the ball as well. You know, what a performance. But it's clever though, because what he does well is he comes out of the pressure. You know, he doesn't mark himself, he comes out of the pressure. When the fullbacks go on, he goes into a fullback position, he gets on it and he plays forward, he plays short, he plays long. Amazing performance. Big players, big games.
Huge day for Sunderland. And all celebration from the red and white. The other side of the story is the black and white. Back to Tyneside, just outside St James's Park, and Ian Irving.
Without question, not the day that anyone inside this building expected today. Alan, how much of a disappointment is that performance and the result?
Yeah, poor performance, really poor result. Newcastle offered very little. I sometimes wondered if they knew it was a derby game they were playing in today, what to expect, how to play the game. I thought they were far too respectful to Sunderland in the first half, and when we did come into it a little bit in the second half, we could have been there another 3 hours and we weren't going to score a goal. Sunderland defended very well. We offered very little, if anything, up top.
What do you think was wrong with them?
I don't know, frustrating. I felt like they showed them too much respect, actually. They're a promoted team. It's a local derby. We said keep calm heads before the game, but that was nearly too calm. There was no urgency. The pace on the passing was slow. You know, Sunderland were just comfortable. Roof never made a save the whole game, really. A couple of long-range shots, really comfortable, and just very frustrating. And it's probably, I would say, the worst performance Newcastle's had this season, and especially they happen in a big derby like this.
Agree?
Yeah, I couldn't disagree with that. I was very disappointed in the effort, in the intensity, in the energy, and their overall play. I mean, Gordon, Elanga, Voltemade offered nothing when they were up front on the pitch. They didn't ask any serious questions of that Sunderland back four, and Sunderland back four were deserved to keep their clean sheet. Didn't trouble them at all. Offered, as I said, nothing.
But it was a day to make heroes. That wasn't the day that Nick Voltemade would want. I mean, he's going to be really suffering tonight, isn't he?
Yeah, I think Chow was behind him as well. Could have headed it clearly, and he really could. Maybe a communication problem there at the back, but he was stretching for it. It was a decent ball in, but he was stretching for it. He'd probably better off leaving it if he wasn't going to get a proper connection and to get it over the bar. So it was not the day he dreamt of waking up this morning. Yeah, he dreamt of scoring a goal, I'm sure, in a local derby, but not in his own net. So a disappointing day for him as well.
Question to answer for Eddie Howe in terms of the approach. Like you said in the first half, a little bit too passive, really.
Yeah, I mean, I know Sunderland have done really well at home, but they're not going to Man City or they're not going to Arsenal to play. You're going to Sunderland, who have just been promoted, and I thought we showed far too much respect for them in the way we set up. We set up in a 4-5-1, and we just couldn't get any balls into the centre forwards. And when we did, they gave it away. I thought we sat and invited pressure on us rather than taking the game to them.
OK, Alan Shea, it's been great to do it with you despite the result. It ends in derby disappointment for Newcastle. Not the day we thought we'd have here, not the day that Newcastle wanted either, I'm sure.
4 defeats in 5 games now for Newcastle. Strong words there from Alan Shearer and Shea Given. The worst performance of the season. Let's get the thoughts now of the Newcastle manager. Here he is, Eddie Howe.
On that in the end today.
Yeah, I don't think it was our finest game. I think the endeavour and the effort was there, but the quality was missing today. A game of really few chances for both teams. It was decided on a bit of a freak goal from our perspective that we didn't defend well enough, and we chased the game valiantly but couldn't create the openings that we wanted.
How frustrating is that?
Yeah, I mean, the goals are a really bad time and also bad in its construction, really. Nick's not meant to obviously do it, but it's ended up in the net and it's decided the game. And I thought we defended set plays well today. I thought we were okay in that respect, and genuinely I thought we defended pretty well.
In terms of going forward, first half in particular, were you on the back foot a bit too much, or could you have got forward a bit more?
Yeah, I think the quality was missing today in our performance in both halves. I don't think it was just restricted to the first half. We were disappointed with our creative output and how many chances we delivered.
As always, he was very honest, one of your former managers. I mean, he will be disappointed at some of the application from his players in such a big game today.
Yeah, he spoke about the effort there. You know, he said the effort was spot on, but in terms of like the quality wasn't there. I'm surprised by that, to be honest. Normally you see Eddie Howe's teams are quite aggressive on the front foot, and especially in this fixture, you know, I think from the beginning they looked quite negative. They didn't really look like they wanted to press, and if you are going to do that, if you're going to play in a medium block or wherever it is, you're not going to press. When you win the ball back, you have to gain some sort of control, and you know you have to spring from that and try and create chances. They didn't do that, and that's why I thought Sunderland throughout the game were a better team, and they didn't really even look like scoring, to be honest. The subs come on, made a difference a little bit, but by then the game, it was too late. The game was done and dusted.
Did Sunderland just want that more? Is it as simple to say that?
Yes. Yep, and that shouldn't happen in a local North East derby, as you saw Alan and Shea say there. You know, at times you thought, do they realise they're playing in a North East derby? So, you know, there was all talk leading into the game, and, you know, I'm in and around Newcastle people all the time. They were fearing coming here, the fans, and it kind of like rubbed off on the players, if you know what I mean. So it was, you know, let's give credit to Sunderland. You know, they've done that to Newcastle today with their performance. You knew that in the first half, Gordon wasn't getting past Mekiele. You know, Langer wasn't getting past Ronaldo because they had him in their pocket. They just couldn't do him. So huge respect to what Sunderland did. But yeah, from Newcastle's point of view, Eddie Howe being
and we've talked about their confidence before the game, but I mean, this again a derby win in that manner. What does that do to this growing belief and confidence in the Sunderland dressing room?
I just don't think it's just today. I think you look at the game here against Arsenal, you know, the Chelsea game, Liverpool. It's all these teams that what it does, it breeds confidence, and what happens is, you know, I mean, some of these players, even before the game, you see the players that they're like the way they walked into the stadium, like they believe that they're going to win. You know, the crowd, they played their part. You know, it's a difficult place to come. I know, you know, Al said about, you know, you're going to Sunderland, you know, promoted team, it's not Man City. But at the same time, this has always been a difficult place to come because of the fans. But they put in a performance like today, it was fantastic.
So let's put it into perspective then in terms of newly promoted teams, because of course Burnley and Leeds currently in the drop zone, but not Sunderland, and the amount of points they have, 26 on the board now. That's the 8th best in Premier League history at this stage of the season after 16 points. And we have to tip our hat to the Sunderland team of 99-2000 when they had 31 points, and of course they finished in the top 7, famously the top scorer that season, who scored in both derbies, as we told you before the game, was Kevin Phillips.
That seems ages ago.
But I mean, they're not far off the heights of your team then.
No, because everywhere I go, people are saying, compare your side that season to this side, and I see a lot of similarities, you know, within the dressing room, the management, maybe not the manager, and Peter Reid's a little bit more
more energy.
But there's a lot of similarities, and so, you know, we got off to an incredible start, and that momentum kept us going all season. And people at that time, maybe like a lot of people, maybe were thinking when they lost to Man City last week, is that bubble going to burst?
Yeah.
No, it's not going to burst. I'm telling you now, they're in a good place. Of course, the 6 players going away now, but I believe they're going to go out in the transfer market and add to the squad when the window opens, which I think is the right thing to do.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a lot of similarities. They're doing fantastic.
Well, let's hear from the man who's got them in this situation, the Sunderland boss, Regis Le Bris.
It is one of those days, Robbie Earle, where you think, imagine not liking football. Imagine it.
Actually, I'm just going to say, ladies and gentlemen, there is the Premier League. I mean, that is exactly what it's all about. 4 seasons ago, this team were in League One, going nowhere. You said after, those teams look like they won a trophy. Well, they did win a trophy. The scalp of Newcastle, their biggest rival, the team who they've had to watch and see them win the League Cup and have the success they have. I mean, those scenes in there are incredible.
These pictures are live, by the way. This is not turned around from a few moments ago. They are still doing that in there.
You know, we talked before about, you know, what you do in a derby. And I said it's about representing the fans. And that's what you're seeing here, that representation of the love for the football club.
Tim, that is peak joy right there.
I'm glad you didn't ask me about football. I don't care about football. This is, you know, I've played at these stadiums, and for our viewers who haven't seen sort of this in like a decade, it's such a big club, Sunderland. We say it all the time because we've lived it and we've been there. And to understand what this means. Going into this game, I saw the teams walking out of the tunnel, and I mentioned to you off camera, like, good. No one's shaking hands, no one's saying hi. There's no derbies left. This is a proper derby. And I tell you what, I saw some people, and they don't get enough mention after the game, the groundsmen, the backroom staff, the guys who are going to finish up here and go to the pub. They're the happiest people in the football club. I can remember them hugging and kissing us after derbies because they were like, thank you for that, because that gives them something to really celebrate.
Sunderland did play Newcastle last year in the FA Cup. They lost 3-0, but they weren't ready. This Sunderland, Robbie, is ready.
Absolutely. So much credit to the ownership group and this manager. He's a really smart guy, this Regis Le Bris. They're going to stay in the Premier League. They've won their first derby. Yes, he's one to come at St James's Park. But couldn't have had a better wish list. What a day, what a night it's going to be up in Sunderland.
Nightmare situation for those Newcastle fans. They don't want to stay in the stadium and watch all this. They don't want to go outside the stadium and have to...
Indumentaria, la Kings Limited Gold Edition. Solo hay 50 unidades de todos los equipos y también puede ser vuestra entrando en kingsleague.pro. Así que es los datos a tener en cuenta en cuanto a indumentarias. Gran partido, Gonzalo, Gerard, el que tenemos por delante.
Ojo, ojo, estilo La Bombonera, estadio de River.
Hostia, más minutos de retraso en el inicio, ¿eh? Ya tenemos lío.
Lo llamó Edo, dibujando la parábola sobre la banda derecha, donde en el vértice del área aparece Nadir. ¡Nadir para adentro! tiene una facilidad pasmosa. Encuentra a Pablo, qué balón para Nadir para el segundo. Se zafa de Cócera, es un golazo. ¡Es un golazo! Señoras, señores, bienvenidos al show de Nadir Lua. Pibe.
El mejor.
Vamos
Haciendo
a ver.
espionaje, ¿eh?
Vaya mierda ha dado, pibe. Va, ya te puedes ir a la cúpula a comer, va.
Tiene que salir Cócera para entregar hacia el centro. Se la regala a Coy, le puede pegar Coy para adentro.
Vaya chicha, nano.
¡Gol! De Porcinos Óscar Coy. Ah, pues sí.
Tony, tienes brazalete volante.
Pero es que, señores,
Que no te lo dije, hombre.
Tenemos, comodín, ¿cómo lo usamos? Penalti.
Penalti.
Venga, será penalti.
Vamos, Cuni.
Puede meter en el partido a Cuni. Jordi para adentro, qué golazo.
¡Guau!
¡Dios!
¡Gol!
Eso, dale.
Vamos con Nadir Lua y con Laura Vizcaíno.
Pues sí, Nadir, 2 goles, victoria y a cuartos, enhorabuena.
Sí, sabíamos que el partido iba a ser muy importante porque veníamos de una muy mala dinámica. El equipo ha estado bien, sufríamos defensivamente y creo que hemos estado muy juntitos. Y nada, primer objetivo cumplido.
Os espera Science, rival complicado, imagino.
Sí, empatamos contra ellos y en shootout
Así
perdimos. Ha quedado segundo por algo. Nada, concentración, confianza con nosotros mismos y intentar ganar para el sábado estar en el Wizzing.
Os lo veremos mañana, mucha suerte.